Shout with joy, clap your hands. We are your people, you who bless. Praise your name, celebrate Anno Domini, our Jubilee.
Joining us for our second conversation, it's all about how the Catholic Church is celebrating Jubilee under the theme Pilgrims of Hope. Joining us on the couch this morning, we have Administrator to the Roman Catholic Diocese of Belize and Belmopan, Father Jordan Gongara. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Media and Communications Chair, Ruben Wong. Good morning.
Good morning.
And the Jubilee Committee Chair, Mr. Abel Vargas.
Good morning.
Morning,
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Let's talk about, first of all, what this particular Jubilee is all about, and then we get into the theme. Let's start with you, Father Gongara.
Thank you. Good morning to you. Good morning, Belize. I'm very happy to be here this morning and excited to share to the nation, to the world, this exciting year of grace for our church, Universal Church in the world. Pope Francis called earlier in 2023, he called the year of hope. Mm-hmm. He wanted us to have the Holy Spirit rekindle, renew that hope, that faith in us as pilgrims on earth. And he wants us to see this year as a pilgrim of hope. And so we're excited to begin the festivities, the celebrations with that theme of Pilgrims of Hope in our church.
What determines a Jubilee year?
The Jubilee, I think Abel can explain that.
Yes, of course. The Jubilee dates way back to the Old Testament in Leviticus chapter 25, verse 10, where there was a declaration of a year of Jubilee, a year of rest, a year of reconciliation, a year of readjusting, refocusing, etc. And since then, Pope Boniface in the 1300s initiated it, and in the 1700s it went from 50 years to 25 years, so every 25 years, save when there's an extraordinary Jubilee, as was called by Pope or present Pope Francis in 2016, a year of mercy. But since then, every 25 years is a Jubilee, and it is a day, a time when we can take stock, so to speak, refocus, recommit. You know, everything that has life, everything that exists needs to be assessed every so often.
Wow.
So is our faith, all right? So is our church. And so we think the Jubilee is a time for that. You know, you have your vehicle. It has to do occasional maintenance. Us here, we have to take our yearly checkup, so to speak. So every so often, there is an interval where we must take stock. We must refocus, recenter, and get ourselves back on the track towards God.
So Jubilee is that time of year to reflect.
It is a time to get back into our spirituality.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd just like to add to that to go back to the word Jubilee, that the term actually comes from a Hebrew word, meaning Yobel. And what that is a ram's horn. And this horn was used as a trumpet to announce the beginning of a Jubilee year.
Okay.
But so now, instead of using a ram's horn, the Pope utilized what they call a papal bull. And this is an official document or a papal decree where the Pope usually make official announcements. And in this decree, he called for all Christians to become pilgrims of hope.
I really find the entire concept of Jubilee so interesting. I mean, to now learn that it was once celebrated every 50 years to now 25 years. What immediately crossed my mind was, do you have to subscribe to the Catholic Christian faith to celebrate Jubilee?
Catholic is universal.
Okay.
You know, and I always coin Dr. Zachary's words in saying, you know, you're all welcome to the Catholic Church. So there's nothing that's confined to the Catholic. We have a lot of things that we initiate to encourage more spiritual growth. But it's all for everyone, as long as it's Catholic.
So we'll see this being celebrated in the entire world.
Yes, it is. In the entire
whole year, for the whole new year.
For the entire
2025,
2020. That is so interesting.
So the last time we celebrated this was 2000?
2016.
2016 was an
25
extraordinary.
Oh, okay.
And remember 2000 was during the COVID time.
Yes.
So it was a jubilee for us, but it was a bit low key because of the evident situation. But so this one is let's do it.
We get to celebrate big.
Yes.
And really bask in what the meaning is this year.
Exactly.
My next question is, every Jubilee, is it centered around the same concept of rest and restoration, or does the theme change every year?
Okay, so the Jubilee in itself has four concepts that underlies the Jubilee. First is forgiveness. Forgive yourself, forgive others. Secondly, it's freedom. It was at that time it was freedom of slavery, but now it's symbolically freedom of your own slaves. What enslaves you? I mean, your vices, your commitments, your job.
Yeah.
You know, your hurried and hasty world. What enslaves you? Free yourself from that. And then thirdly, we have come back home, come back to your origins. A lot of times in our Catholic faith, when we get confused about things, go to the origin. Where did it begin? What was the initial concept? What was the initial reasoning? That's where the original definition lies. And then lastly, it's about rest. And it's not rest that you could stay home more sick days. No.
You can't take that rest day, guys.
Right.
Call in rest.
It's rest about you giving yourself time.
Yeah.
All right? So we say you get time to discern, time to be with yourself. Spiritually, to be with God. And that's the four concepts of the entire Jubilee. This 2025, there are three themes that the Jubilee wants to look at in interest because of this time, at this 2025. And the first thing is the amount of conflicts that's happening in the world. Right now, personally, I know that there's about 40 countries that are actively at war, where people are getting killed. All right, so we have so much conflict in the world. So that's one of the things that the Jubilee wants to look at. Secondly, it's the post-COVID issues. Right now, people are still living physical and emotional traumas of COVID.
Very true.
And then thirdly, the environment. Looking at our home, our home earth, and caring for it. God entrusted us as stewards of this creation, and we must keep it, maintain it, and preserve it. So those are the three concepts.
Excellent.
So how are you all to look at these different global issues and I guess execute Pilgrims of Hope further throughout the year?
Well, everything that the Catholic Church has done, its principles underline everything about preservation, conservation, and peace. Everything ties back to the moral structure and fabric of society initiated through the Church and the gospel of God. So everything that we'll do is to ask people now to recenter, go back, think about what's been happening with conflicts. Think about peace. Peace in the world, your neighborhood, your family, and yourself. Think about what's happening with COVID. We're having people having a lot of different sicknesses, etc. Think about that. Think about the planet. What are we doing to preserve the planet? So all of what we're doing in 2025, you'll find that we'll have different programs, different mass, different jubilees, but they all tie back to those three underlying concepts.
And so how are we bringing in Jubilee? How are we celebrating Jubilee first as a global community and then here in Belize?
Well, I would like to say that on Christmas Eve, Pope Francis officially declared the Jubilee open. He opened the holy door of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. And these holy doors are usually sealed entrances, that leads into the major basilicas in Rome. And it is only during a holy year that these doors are open. So the significance of passing through one of these doors it's a time of conversion and a journey towards salvation for us.
I want to take an opportunity to dissect a bit before we get into the dates and the celebrations, the issues that we will be looking at throughout the year. I think it's pretty straightforward when we think of wars taking place around the world and even internally, the conflicts that we experience in our own country. But let's look at COVID-19, for example, and how we will be seeing messages come out of an issue like physical and mental and emotional impacts from COVID-19. How can we see that being incorporated in a message from a mass, for example?
For certain, it's all about discernment, about time. The whole concept of rest brings back the whole COVID. And how do you deal with emotions? How do you deal with these anxieties, fears? It's all spiritual. You know, people get to a point of despair because they're not spiritually connected. And
perhaps the fear of unknown when we think of sickness too, because COVID-19 really crept up on all of us.
We didn't know what was going to happen
in the entire world. So that connects then.
Yes.
And then when we think of the environment, how do we connect the Bible and the Word from God to taking care of our environment?
Well, we know that St. Francis of Assisi was always about, spoke about Brother Earth, Mother, Sister Moon, etc. So everything that has to do, we know as Christians, as children of God, that we are the stewards and the caretakers of this earth. And we cannot deny that. So everything we do as Christians should come back to the preservation, conservation of the earth, because we're here to ensure that there is something for those who come after. Okay, and that's that, and everything in our spirituality is about that. And you'll see that in our Jubilee this year, we will have times for those when we will concentrate on these different aspects. When I get into that in a little while, we'll see where we're not only blanketed, we're focusing.
I wanted to touch on the final issue, as Sabrina mentioned, when it comes to the different civil wars that are happening throughout the various countries and so forth. And in Belize, we have been so fortunate that has not touched
Thank God.
us. Right. But how can we here be a part of this message of hope for those places that we have not seen, but yet they're going through so much?
The hope that we provide is the hope of coming home, the embrace of God. All right? You'll find that the church does not actively or physically participate in conflicts, but the church always offers a place of repose. It always offers a place of sanctity, a place where you could come and be with yourself at peace. The fact that most people don't take it or don't take the time to recognize it, that's something else. Because the love of God is not forced upon.
It's free will.
It's free will. It's always inviting, and it's up to you to come. So the church has always been there. We have a thing that we call the church has always been involved in everything social. For the past ages, you have the encyclicals that the Pope keep bringing out, but that's our involvement. It's not about going out there taking up a weapon. Our weapon is the Bible, and so that's what we use. We provide you with information and guidance. It's up to you to take it.
All right.
So how are you all celebrating this year's Jubilee?
I see we have an opening
Yes,
mass
we have
coming
an
up.
opening mass.
That's coming up this tomorrow, Saturday, in the Co-Cathedral in Belmopan. We'll have the opening mass. Most dioceses throughout the world, they did the official opening December the 29th.
Okay.
We opted to begin this Saturday at 10 a.m. So the entire diocese, the entire nation will be present. We have asked for delegation from each parish. We have 13 parishes throughout the country, and we have our people, our committee, as Abel is the chair of the committee. We are preparing, getting all the details together, finalizing for tomorrow's grand opening of the Jubilee. And at the same time, very, very important and significant of a Jubilee is the Holy Doors that Abel mentioned, Ruben also. The Holy Doors that the Holy Father has asked each diocese to proclaim and open. It has a very symbolic meaning for us going through that holy door of restoration, of conversion, and encounter. All this is centered in that theme of hope. In our world, we're going so much things, we're moving away from God. We need to bring back that hope, that salvation in Christ, which we celebrate this Christmas season. So we're going to be blessing and proclaiming the Holy Door in Belmopan tomorrow, and declaring that church a sacred site. That's another aspect of the Jubilee. There will be several sacred sites around the country where our people can journey as pilgrims of hope. Take time to pray, take time to restore, to interact with others. You know, people from Corozal can go to Toledo, interact with the Mayas and so forth. So we are preparing for that. And the next Holy Door will be in Holy Dima Cathedral here in Belize City. That will be blessed and proclaimed next Thursday, January 9th at 6 p.m. We have another Mass to proclaim and bless the Holy Door at Holy Redeemer. So there'll be two holy doors. Normally, traditionally, it's only cathedrals that are proclaimed open as holy doors.
Okay. That's so interesting.
Yes.
I mean, the recognition of holy doors and sacred sites and what that could mean for persons who would like to find that place of rest, so to speak, throughout the year. Really interesting concept. Let's go over to you though, Mr. Abel, and talk about
the
the different
eager
dates.
with his dates.
I know he's clearly well invested in the planning of this. And so, what are significant dates that we can look forward to throughout the year?
So what we'll be having, like Father Jordan said, our administrator, he said that we're having our initial Mass, inaugural Mass tomorrow, which is a big thing for us. It's going to be a good Mass, a big Mass where the entire country is going to be involved. Multicultural as well. We'll have the Quechua, the Maya, the Carifana, the Spanish and English. So it'll include everyone. So it's a big Mass and everyone is invited. Everyone is invited. Catholic, non-Catholic, everyone is invited. Okay. All right. And that's where we start off. Then we, as Father Jordan said, he will declare the Holy Door there tomorrow, and on the 9th at Holy Redeemer here, the only two holy doors that we'll have. And he's right in saying that it's usually only cathedrals. As you can see, in Rome, there are about over 930 churches in Rome, but only 4 sacred papal basilicas. All right, and those 4 basilicas will have holy doors. All right, which have already been instituted. Here in Belize, also, apart from the holy doors, we'll have sacred sites, and the sacred site is a space where you can come and be with God. That's it. Come and be with God. How you are with God, if it means you're going to be silent, if it means you're going to be contemplative, if it means that you're going to discern, that's what it's going to be. The sacred sites will have someone there who will always be able to guide you and answer questions that you may have. All right, whether it be questions about the Jubilee, whether it be questions about spirituality, and if they don't know the answers, they will direct you to who knows the answers and find the answers for you. Also, in the sacred sites, you will have sacred things, sacred objects, sacred things that will keep your faith constant. Because we go to these, we go to Mass, for instance, and we are redeemed, we are transformed, we are converted, but then we leave Mass. When we get back into the world.
Yeah.
So what these sacred sites will have is like prayers, pamphlets, rosaries.
To fuel us.
Right, and to keep you constant.
Yes.
All right. So in the sacred sites, we have established sacred sites countrywide. In St. Peter Claver Church, to start with, in Punta Gorda Town, there's going to be a sacred site. Nazareth, that's in Forest Home in PG as well, is going to be a sacred site. And San Luis Rey Church. That's in San Antonio, Toledo. That's a church that many people don't know, but it's a majestic church because it has a majestic view of nature. All right, and that goes in with the environment. Yeah. So then we'll have Our Lady of Guadalupe Cathedral, which is going to be a sacred site. Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Benque, Holy Redeemer Cathedral here as well. Divine Mercy Church is going to be a sacred site. San Pablo Church in San Pedro. Most people know San Pedro Church, but San Pablo Church, a lot of people don't know.
Is there a decision process that went into identifying what would be a sacred church?
Yes.
Because you mentioned that there are many other churches. Yes. What was the deciding factor?
Here, the administrator here called a special committee in November.
Okay.
And that's where we started discerning. Things of the church are not hasty. They're spiritual. So you might sit and have a meeting, for instance, and the synod was a good example of that, where people of secular thought believe the synod was a decision-making process. That's not what it is. It's a discernment process. And the journey could become the destination, which it did. All right? Because even though there were certain goals, we didn't achieve them, but the journey there achieved other goals that the Spirit led us to. So what we did, we sat down and we discerned, and then we had a second meeting. And at that second meeting is where we started deciding, okay, these will be the holy doors, these will be the sacred sites. And the way we decided on the sacred sites is to make sure that everyone in the country had access to a sacred site.
Okay.
And also to reveal what has been hidden or unknown. San Pablo
Just
Church,
like the churches that
right?
you pointed out.
San Antonio, you know, San Luis Rey.
Yes.
So that was the underlying to make our faithful here in Belize more known to what they may have not known before.
Right.
All right. We have also La Immaculada Concepcion in Orange Walk. They will have a sacred site. San Roman Village. They will have a sacred site. San Joaquin will have a sacred site, and of course Corozal, St. Francis Xavier. So all of these will be sacred sites. So everyone in the country has a sacred site nearby.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Well, this has been, I was going to ask if the liturgical year kind of follows differently because this is a Jubilee year, or is it
Yes,
fitting? Okay.
absolutely. There's no doubt we can't remove it. It makes part. The Jubilee is inserted into the liturgical year. For instance, we're in the Christmas season. As we go into the Lenten season in March, we're going to be celebrating the Lenten season in that center theme of hope, of forgiveness, of course, of penance and so forth. And it moves on till the end of the year, of this year, when Pope Francis will close the Jubilee year, and we will have lived this whole year of a graceful year of hope in our church.
I want to get Mr. Wong in the conversation and take the direction of the conversation more to encouraging newcomers into the faith of Christianity, particularly where youth are concerned. Do we see a lot of young people becoming Christians in this day and age?
Well, for us, the youth are very important. We can't leave them out for sure. So they are pretty much involved. As a matter of fact, for this opening mass, we're having schools, like the different liturgies were subcommittees were formed, and one of them is school and youth. So they will be very active participating in this opening, and all the activities involved, even like things like maybe having them doing volunteer work at these sacred sites, have young people pretty much involved in there to be.
And hinging on that, in the Jubilee year 2025, we will have Jubilees for different segments of society. Okay, so we have a Jubilee for the consecrated, which we'll do in February. And the ambitious plan is to go to Lamanai, Indian church. That was our original, the first known Catholic church in the country. It's in the bushes, but our clergy now will have a special mass there. So that's one of the Jubilee Mass. We have also Jubilee for the consecrated. We have Jubilee for the religious. We have Jubilee for the youth, of course, in April. We'll have Jubilee for the lay ministers in June. Jubilee for teachers. Jubilee for mothers. Jubilee for families. Jubilee for fathers. Jubilee for the elderly, and for different segments of society, where we will focus on concentrating on them. So you might look at lawyers, for instance. You might look at doctors, for instance. You may look at policemen, servicemen, and you might say, how do they contribute? How does their work fit into the whole plan of God? And that's where they will then, when they attend these Jubilees, they will become known. Oh, what I do does have something to do with spirituality. What I do does contribute, and it gives them spiritual meaning, not secular significance, but spiritual importance.
I have to say, I really appreciate that term of it, because sometimes we go to work and we're thinking, what is the purpose of us being here?
Exactly.
Why are we doing some of these things, especially if you're a policeman? Crime just continues on, even
Or
though
you're not
doing
feeling
your
fulfilled.
job, or you're not feeling fulfilled because these things keep happening. So that's a really new direction to take when it comes to thinking about how our societies kind of have this connection to their spirituality. I know we've been talking about Jubilee, and you've said it a lot in your last sentence there, but how does this Mass then differ from all of the other ones that you have done?
The opening is the initial opening. The initial rites is we were given the guidelines from the Vatican to begin the Jubilee, and it is very different. It's a bit different. We have the proclamation of the Jubilee year that Abel was saying, the Ruben on the papal bull. It will be read, and then we will have the specific gospel, a pilgrimage. We're going to have a short procession to the church where we're going to start. So that's the idea, the meaning of all this starting of the Jubilee. The liturgy itself is the same Mass, but we're adding a bit more of participation, a bit more of our culture to have that symbol of unity of our people, the whole nation, the diocese. Other than the Sunday Mass, it's a regular, there's this guideline, but the Jubilee tomorrow is going to be, I would say, more significant in the sense of participation and attendance of the entire nation. Then the other Jubilees, as Abel mentioned, Jubilee, we're looking forward to a Jubilee, for instance, for prisoners. We're working on trying to go to the prison and have a time, sacred space, time for our prisoners, pray with them and so forth. Jubilee for public officers, public workers, Jubilee for nurses and doctors, adapt this year for their profession, but also with a spiritual sense, spirituality.
I really like that.
Excellent, excellent. Gentlemen, as we wrap up this conversation, I'll ask if you have any final thoughts you'd like to share with our viewers. This is your opportunity to do so.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. Just to remind our Catholics and non-Catholics, the Christians out there, you're invited to the opening Mass, and just take this time, this Jubilee year, to renew yourself, renew that hope, that faith in God, that this Christmas evidently showed us God is with us. He brought His Son. So inviting everyone to live this Jubilee, to go to the sacred sites, the holy doors.
Ruben?
Yeah, well, it's a time of renewal. It's a time of conversion. It's a time of forgiveness. You know, if you have anything you've been holding against someone, this is an opportunity, you know, to make peace. At the end of this Jubilee year, we should come out a better person, actually.
Well, Jubilee is a landmark of recognition, landmark of joy, celebration. So let this year be a year that we are more happy, we are more content, we are more at peace, and we can share that with others.
Excellent, gentlemen. Thank you all so much for joining us this
for having
morning.
us.
Thank you for
And
having
best
us.
of luck.
Shout with joy, clap your hands. We are your people, you bless. Praise your name, celebrate Anno Domini, our Jubilee.